Hi guys, this is Colleen from Create with Colleen. Welcome. I just wanted to share, I want to do fall inspired painting, but not necessarily pumpkins or scarecrows or whatever. So I thought sunflowers are in bloom and Thanksgiving is coming up, so I thought it would be appropriate to have sunflowers with the sentiment simply blessed. And I thought this would be a good beginner painting for anybody, and I hope you follow along. I just wanted to let you know that I have now I don't even know what the size of this canvas is. Throw the paper. Anyway, it's a more rectangular canvas, and you can use this design on a square one, on a piece of wood even. That would be very nice, rectangular that way. Any kind of surface that you choose. And I just happened to choose this one because I wanted a more linear design. And as you can see, I pre-traced Simply Blessed on the canvas. I have this, and if you email me your privately, don't do it publicly, private email me your or message your email address, I will send you along this tracer, and you just print it with your regular home printer, and you can use graphite paper or old-fashioned carbon paper, and you place that on your canvas, and you place the tracer on top, hold it so that it doesn't move around, and I just took a regular pen and I traced it out, and this is how it came out. So that'll give me a good guide for painting in the words. Or you could do it with a Sharpie marker if you want. And also, I drew I can see it, a circle coming off of the canvas, and I just use it's a Kirkland, those big jars of nuts. I saved the container, and I used the cover to trace just take any small plate, saucer, what have you, whatever you have around to make if you're not comfortable just drawing out the circle. And I just did it with a regular pencil, lightly. And I also drew a horizon line because I was thinking I just drew like a partial sun, almost like a sunrise setting. And I'm pretty much going with the flow. I'm figuring it out as I go. So hope you follow along and try it out yourself. And if you do, I'd really appreciate it if you just share on this page or with me personally, and I'll share with the group, just to encourage other people that you tried it and you were able to do something, and they're not all going to turn out exactly the same, and that's okay. So when we're doing something like this, I'm going to switch you over closer to so you can see the canvas. It's when you do a painting, you start with the background. So that's what I'm going to do here today. So I'm going to paint the sky and the sun, and then I'm not really sure what I'm going to do here, and we can paint over what I've traced because we'll see it somewhat. It's just for a guide. We'll see it through the paint, and that'll be fine. All right, so I'm going to start with some blue, and I'll just start with this is a Deco Art Americana Ocean Blue. It's just a medium blue, and you don't have to have the exact same color. Any kind of blue that you like is fine. I'm going to squirt out some white. I have a big bottle here. because I use a lot of white. I have a big bottle of white and a big bottle of black, because those are colors that you use quite a bit. I do anyway. Okay, so I'm going to use, this is a 1/4 inch flat brush. You can see it's not fluffy, it's thin sideways, but it's wider, and it's a square edge. And this is just nice to cover large areas. You can use a larger brush. It doesn't have, it can be a rounded edge, it doesn't matter. It's just to be more efficient. So I'm going to take up some, I have my blue here, and I'm going to take quite a bit of white, because I want it more of a lighter kind of blue to start. Maybe a bit darker than that. So here's my sky. Just covering up the area. You don't have to be fussy with this. Usually skies are darker on the top and then go lighter towards the horizon. So that's just a rule of thumb. Just to give you an idea, if you want it to be, just gives it more depth if it has a variation of color. If it's just a real flat one color blue, it's not as interesting. And I'm not really mixing it. Like you can see, it's kind of blobby. My white, my blue, and I'm just randomly grabbing and going across. And my sunflower will be going over the blue here. I'm painting over it so that I don't have to go all around, trace all around to fill in the blue. Okay, so this is my horizon. I want it quite lighter. I'm going to go with more white. I'm going to be adding other colors. So I just randomly, it's when you're dividing up your canvas, artistically, it's more interesting to the eye if your horizon is not smack dab halfway through your canvas. It's either higher up or lower down. That's just a common rule of thumb that for doing paintings. So I just want to share my love of painting with you guys and show you how easy it can be. I'm just going around where I want the sun to be. And acrylic painting, what's nice about acrylic painting, I've done oil painting, which is fine, but what's fun with acrylic painting is that it dries quickly, and you can just paint over it. If you made a mistake, just paint over it. Wait for it to dry. You can even use your blow dryer if you want. And you see, with this flat brush, I can paint this way for coverage, but I can always use just like this to make a thinner line. You don't always have to do it the flat way. You can do it on the edge, a corner. When you get used to using your brushes, you learn different ways of using them, different effects you can get. Okay, there's a sky. I'm looking at it. There's some. There's light blue. There's dark blue. I was thinking of a sunrise because the sun's there. So what I'll do, I'll be adding white for the sun, and I'm going to add some yellow. So it's plain old white. Paper towels here. And one thing, if you made a mistake on your canvas, let's say it's like, oh, I put too much blue, and your paint is still wet, you can take a wet one or a paper towel that's wet. I'll use a paper towel that's wet just to show you. I have a container of water here. Wet water, yeah, wet water. and I can wipe it off. Look at that. See? See how easy? But you have to do it while your paint hasn't dried yet. So I'm taking off some of the blue because I want more of and I'm lightly brushing to get off if there's paper towel lint or what have you. You can even take a dry brush and just go over it. So there you go. And this is where I'm doing the sun. So I'm going to take hair there. I'm going to take a round brush. This is a number 12. It doesn't have to be a number 12. It could be a 10 or 8 or what have you. Whatever you have on hand, use that. Don't be buying 50 different kinds of brushes. It's round. You can see the bristles. It's not flat like this one. And it comes to a point. And that's something you want to look for. You want to make sure it comes to a point and there's not all, the end is not all scraggly. Okay, I'm going to take some white and I'm going to paint in where I want the sun to be. Just a plain white for now. And I'm going to take out some, just a regular, that's a bright yellow in Deco Art Americana, bright yellow. I'm just going to squish out a little bit. I don't squeeze out unless I know I'm using like the white, but you see the yellow, I didn't take very much. I don't want to waste paint. So I want to take, just put a little bit of, I was going to speak French, a tout petit brin. Just a little touch of yellow. I'm just touching the tip of my brush with it. As you can see, there's just a little bit of yellow, and I'm going to mix it in with the white I have here on the side. And I want a very, very pale yellow. And I'm going over the white there. And I'll want this part of the sky more yellowy, maybe some orange in there. So I'm going to go back to my, excuse me, to my large flat brush, and I'm just going to wipe it out. I'm not going to wet it because then it'll fill it all full of water and have to dry. I just keep using the same old paper towel. You can use a rag. See, it's not completely clean, but that's okay. And I'm going to dip into my white. I'm dipping into my white, putting some aside here to mix, and then taking a little touch of yellow, mixing that in. I want it more yellow than the sun. So I don't know if you can see the difference. And like you can see I'm painting the horizon because I want it to be the line across here. I want it to be more exact. I'm putting the brush flat on the canvas that way. I think that'll be a little too bright. It's good to test it out. I'm going to add some more white, and let's see how this is going to go. I'm going to go over the edge of the sun, and that's okay because I'm going to clean it up again. I'm going to redefine the sun. It's just to give me an idea where it is. And I'm just going horizontal lines across. I can use the flat of my brush if I want to like just sort of blend it out a bit. I'm going to be adding more colors. So one thing you're gonna, I don't know if you've watched my other videos, but one thing you learn when you're painting, at first it doesn't look good, and that's okay. That's how it's supposed to be. It's a process. It's a process that you keep. It's like playing with Lego. You're adding building blocks. So I'm just going a little bit into the blue, just little, very light. I'm not pressing hard on my brush, I'm just using the tip and I'm going across. And that's okay, picked up a bit of blue there, and that's all right. Okay, and I'm going to add some orange, some orangey color. This is Liquitex Basics, and it's cadmium orange hue. I'm just taking a little tiny bit because it's a strong color. I just need a little bit. I'm just touching the corner of my brush into it. And just a note, these paints are thicker than these paints. Okay, the craft paints are a bit thinner. They glide on well, have good coverage. This is thicker. I like this, and I can add water, a touch of water if I want to thin it out a little bit. So I took a little bit of orange, and I'm mixing that into where I had the yellow. Not mixing completely, just roughly. Okay, going across, and then I'm flipping, going with the flat of my brush instead of just like that. Just sort of blend it a bit. Again on the side, just random, and you don't want to cover up all the yellow. You're just adding accents. And it's important to go horizontally. You don't want to go up and down because that doesn't look natural. It'll look kind of wonky. And I don't know if you can see, because I don't fully mix in solidly, you get all kinds of nuances in your colors that automatically blends on the canvas from your brush. So, and that makes some really nice effects. Okay, I'm stepping back to look. I'm going to put some more on this side. And you notice I haven't loaded my brush too much. I'm letting the brush do the work. It's slowly, there's less and less orange on it, and that's okay as I'm getting away from the center of the sky. Okay, that's like a wispy cloud, we'll say. And I'm going on the flat way just to sort of blend it out a bit. And or you can take like a dry brush and just very lightly pass over it. And that kind of blends it out. Okay. Maybe a little touch here just for some contrast. And when this dry, oh, I can go over it now, I guess, and redo the sun part. I'm just going to turn it towards me a little bit more because I'm kind of sideways here. And you just go up and over. I'll probably add some straight white. And then I'll wait for it to dry, and I might put some more. But for now, that's good. That looks like I think that looks pretty good for a morning sky. Now for this part here, I think I'd like to have sort of like you know how when professionals take pictures and or if you're really good, oops, your foot, the background is out of focus, and it gives like a blurry effect, and that's what I would like to have here in the background here. And we're going to have a big sunflower over here. So I want the sunflower, like there's going to be 3 elements. You're going to have the text that says Simply Blessed. You have the nice sunrise and a nice big sunflower. So if I add too much detail in the background, it's just going to be too busy and your eye's not going to know where to go. So I'm going to take my brush again, my flat brush, and I'm going to wipe out the white and the yellow and the orange that was in there. Just dry. I didn't wet it. I have a container of water here just to I want to wash my brush. And I want this to be like a green field. So I'm going to use Deco Art Americana Forest Green. It's a dark green. And like I said, you don't have to have this brand and the exact same name of the color. I have a Basics, Liquitex Basic here is a phthalo green, and that's very similar, and I could use that too if I wanted to. Okay, and I think I will. So I'm going to take a dab of that. And sometimes it's good to start dark and then you put the highlights on, and that makes for a nice effect. The highlights with brighter or lighter colors, brighter and lighter, whatever. I'm taking a dab of what color is this one? Light green permanent, just in case I want to lighten it if it's too dark. Okay, so I'm taking the green. Yeah, that I would have been better with the forest green. Darn. Maybe if I add the light. I find the phthalo blue green, it has like a blue undertone. So I'm just adding some of that bright green just to make it not as bluish. And I'm going to start. And like I said, it's not going to look great. I'm going to add a little water because I use the tube paint. I'm going to, using the edge, not the flat, but the edge like this, to draw, to indicate where my horizon is. And this can change. I'm just giving it, it's just to give me an idea where I stand. And I'm noticing that the green is too bright, so I'm going to take a little bit of black. And when you add black to something, it's important you do just little tiny bits at a time. Okay, so here's my green. I'm going to put some aside here, and I'm just touching the corner of my brush, and even that I think it might be too much. So I'm going to dab it on the side, and that will gray it down. See, and it gives you a nice darker tone and not as bright. Might take a little bit more black. Just do little touches at a time, because if you put too much and then your whole, then it takes so much more to even out the colors again. There you go, that's better. Reloading my brush. There you go. Add a bit of water just so it blends easier. Taking care when I'm near the horizon, near the sun. That helps it. And this is going to be like a field in the background. You see, this green was too bright, so I'm going over it and just touching a little bit of water because I have the tube paint. And when I get close to the horizon, I use the tip of the brush going sideways, not flat, but sideways. I'm going to keep reloading my brush as I need. I'm going to have to mix some more because I just did a bit, and that's okay. I'm going to take some more of that phthalo blue, green, sorry, and that bright green, and a touch of black. And you don't have to mix the colors like that. Just get, like, probably would have been easier if I just used this one, the forest green. It would have. I'm going to show you the difference of the color. Gives you an idea. So that's what I mixed, the phthalo green with the bright and a touch of black, and this is the forest green. So really, that's pretty darn close. So instead, you don't have to mix it up. I'm just showing you what I do, my process. If I don't have the exact kind of color that I want, and you don't want it all totally uniform. You want to see lighter greens, darker greens. That's natural in nature, right? So I'm just going over, lifting my, and you don't have to have an easel. This is a cheapy easel I got from Michael's when it was on sale. Sign up for their coupons, and if you're over 55, I think it's 10% you get off. Every little bit helps. And so as you can see, I'm covering up the canvas, and we're just going to go around where the middle of the sunflower will be. As you cover up the canvas, once it's got your color, look at your brush strokes, okay? Then smooth over with like long, soft strokes, just to smooth them out, so you don't see a whole bunch of things like that. Strokes like that. There you go. So I'm just going slowly close to the sunflower middle. I want the green behind the petals because there might be holes between the petals, and I want to see the green in the middle, behind them, sorry. So I'm just going to smooth out, doing slow, soft brush strokes to smooth out the brush strokes, yeah. And what I'll do afterwards, I won't do it now because it takes too much time, but I'll be painting the sides too. Oops, sorry. I'll be painting the sides. So with the color that's near there. It just makes for a nicer, if you're just hanging it like that, then you don't have to worry about hanging it. Now I'm just seeing, I'm probably, so I want to be able to see my text. I wasn't really sure what color I was gonna put for the background. I'm not gonna see it too much. I think I'm gonna put a lighter color just to highlight the where the text will be. And so I don't cover it all up with the dark green. So I'm just doing this quickly to show you the process, but you take your time, take the time you need. This is pre-recorded, so you can watch this in the comfort of your own home. And pause and rewind as is needed to see and to do the process. So let's say I'm just doing the sky, watch it, and then get your stuff out, get all ready, and then you can watch it again as you're doing it. Pause if you're not going as fast as me. I painted for quite a few years, so I'll probably be going faster than you, and that's okay. We all go at our own speed, right? So I'm just filling this in for now. I think I need a bigger brush to smooth the brush strokes though. But I will be adding a bit of detail there. That's okay. Okay, I think I'm going to put some like a yellow, a pale yellow green, like a lime green maybe. Let's see. I just took some of my yellow there and I just mixed it in the green that I had already. And we'll see how that goes. I'm going to add a little bit of water. Yeah, so then I can see the design quite easily. And then I'll highlight it because it's a different color. I need more of that bright yellow. Just a little dab at a time. You don't want to be wasting. I'm just touching the water a little bit to thin it out a little bit, just so it'll be easier to blend. Reloading. Be careful when you go around where it's darker to start, because your brush will pick up the darker color. Okay, now I'm going to be blending on the sides, because I can see my design. So I'm going over the darker. Now that yellow, the green. And I'm just sort of doing like crisscrossings to blend it. It's almost like a Bob Ross maneuver there. God for Bob Ross. So sad, his story. I don't know if you've seen it on Netflix. It's very sad how it ended. He ended up business-wise and creatively, obviously. So I'm just going over with long, soft strokes just to sort of blend in my brushwork. Yeah, I think that's the effect I want. Here that needs a little more paint. Just make sure the canvas is covered properly. You don't want long white specks. Okay, there you go. That's good for now. Let's start with the sunflower. I need some blue here. I didn't cover up the edge here, the roundedness of the sunflower. Okay, and I have some references on my phone here, just to give me an idea what I'm looking for, just to remind me what a sunflower looks like. So I want this kind of a chocolate brown, and I'm going to grab, hold on, I'm going to grab a styrofoam plate, because I went pretty, I could always wipe off my palette because I didn't leave much room to mix more colors. Maybe I'll just wipe it down. There you go. That's what's nice about the plastic. You could do it on your styrofoam plate too. See? Just wiped out, and that's fine. I can even take a tiny bit of my water to wash my brushes. And this is how I clean up my palette after I'm done painting, by the way. You take off as much as you can, with water and paper towel to throw out in your garbage, and then you just wash with warm water and soap. Okay, so I have a nice area here. How am I gonna make my brown? Do I have a ready-made brown? Of course, if you have ready-made, it's always easier. Let's see if I can use the orange. See, I took the orange. I'll do it again so you can see. I took the orange and I took a touch of black. Chocolate brown. Hello. That's the fun of when you learn how to mix your colors. And it comes all by practice. Because one orange is not going to be the same as another orange. And I'm just using this round brush because I happen to have it. I could have used, I think maybe even the flat one would have been better. let's see, I'm washing it out because it's pretty really full of green paint. Wipe it, and you know, dry it off, wipe it off with your paper towel to get the excess water out. Yeah, I'm gonna need more paint, so I'm taking another blob of that orange. And I don't know if you guys are aware about my Christmas sleds I got going on. Oh, they're so darn cute. And I made 2 designs, and I'll be making a third, and they'll be available to buy. You can buy them just the sled itself, by itself, and you do your own design, or you can buy a kit. I am willing to do that for you guys. You choose the design you want. Let's say you want the Santa snowman. Well, I'll package all the colors you need for that design, the same colors that I use, and I'll include some other goodies in there, and it'll be like ready to go. And I have my sleds are I'm priming the sleds. I'm gluing them together because I got them from the supplier. They're all apart. They're not assembled. So I'm assembling them all and gluing them with the help of my husband. He's doing most of the work. And I want to make sure you can see. Sorry about that. We're assembling them and priming them too, because they're made out of MDF, and they'll already be primed in white, so you can paint them with no problem. So there you go, the dark brown, and I'm going to put some lighter color around. Usually there's like lighter things there, the seeds, I guess you would say. And I'm using quite a bit of this yellow. I'm going to take another thing of the yellow, the brown. See, and that's another thing with painting. It's better to use a light color like yellow, or I don't know, and don't just put white to do highlights, because that's not a natural thing. There's very few things that are really pure white. They look like they're really white. So all I'm doing, I'm dabbing in the yellow with my brush, my round brush here. And as you can see, it's kind of blending in with the brown, because the brown's still wet, right? The base paint is still wet. So it's kind of blending in, and that's okay if you want that effect. I'm going to try this out, and I'll be adding more highlights as I go. So I'm just sort of doing like a donut around. So and I'm just moving my brush around like that, just to get, you don't want it all uniform. You want it uniform in a circle, but not all the little dots exactly the same. I'm just moving my wrist around like that, just randomly. So I'll be posting that about the sleds. So if you're interested, I suggest you hop on quick, because I only have 24. I didn't want to take the chance of ordering more, just because it costs a lot of money, a lot for the shipping. And honestly, I couldn't afford to have more than that, so to start. So if there's more interest, I'll order more. But for now, we'll only have 24. So they've been very, very popular in other places. So I suggest you hop on quick if you want yours. I'm just wiping off my round brush, and I'm just grabbing up a bit of the greenish color that I had here, and I'm just mixing it with the yellow that I used there, because the reference photo that I'm looking at, it has kind of a greenish middle here. Okay, I find it's taking up too much of, because the brown is still wet. I think I need to let that dry for a bit there before adding any more, because as I'm putting my brush on, I'm taking off the brown. So I'm going to leave that there, and we're going to go into the petals. Yes. So for petals, let's see. So I'm practicing on my, I have this rounded flat brush, rounded tip, and I'm just practicing on my palette the movement to see what I need to make this the shape of the petal. So I can, if you can start lightly and it'll be just thin. Well, I'm going to use a color here. I'll use the brown just to show you. So if I put my brush this way and I start lightly, like I'll just do on the side lightly, it's not very wide, right? I'm gonna reload. So I can start lightly and then push down. Lightly push down, lightly push down, and maybe go sideways to make it wider, because that doesn't work. So we're gonna, that's not too bad. I'm gonna try the round brush. This is the biggest one I have. What size is this one? This is a 10. And this is a 12. 12 looks smaller. So I'm going to try this one. Let's try with the yellow. Load up my brush. And so if I go light, and this is pointy, so lightly just the point, and then I push down, there you go. See, that makes a nice petal, right? So you're going to have to start from the outside of the petal, because you want the tip, like this will be the middle. You want the tip to be quite pointy, because as you lift up, it'll get pointy again, and then that'll give you a better effect. So I'm going to use that one. I'm going to wipe off my palette again. And a bit of water just to clean it up, because it's going to be a yellow. I don't want it to be all muddy. Always keep paper towels or handy, or a rag. You can use the same rag over and again. So this area, because I had already painted it, is basically dry. So now we're ready. I can confidently paint over it, and it's not going to smear, all the colors are going to smear all together. So I'm scooping up my yellow. I'm going to put some more. This is that bright yellow from Deco Art. And I'm loading my brush, and I'm dabbing it in, and I'm twirling my brush as I go too. And now I'm sliding down like that as I'm twirling to make the point. Okay, so now you have to be brave. We're gonna do the outside petals first. Maybe I should put a bit of orange. I'm gonna add a bit of orange in it, because it'll be a bit darker in the background. Having a drink of water. Cheers. Okay, so I have the yellow, and I'm just gonna touch a bit in the orange, and I'm twirling my brush. And like I said, you have to be brave. I'm going to start here on the edge here. Maybe I should start here so you can see better. I'm going to lightly put the tip of my brush on it, and then as I go down, I'll be pressing harder, and then it spreads out the bristles, and then it makes the petal bigger. So here we go. Wish me luck. And as I arrive at the end, I lift up, and then it narrows the petal again. So let's do that again. These are the background ones. I'm gonna maybe do it longer. because there's different layers of petals, right? So here I'm starting with the point, pushing down hard and going up, and I can fix it, and that'll be covered up with other petals. So even if it's not perfect where it joins the seed pod there, it's okay. Same thing, just the tip, going down, pushing hard and lifting. This is fun. Okay, here we go. Pushing down hard. And if it doesn't cover perfectly, that's fine, because as it dries, we can do another layer. That's the beauty of acrylic. Reloading my brush, twirling to get the point. Same thing. More yellow, more orange. And a bit bigger. Lifting up slowly. I think it works better when you get towards the seeds there to lift up slowly. Same thing. And then you have more control. This is the first time I'm doing this, guys. Like, I did a sunflower on my mailbox, but I didn't do it exactly like this. So, and this kind of design with the flower facing us full on is the easiest way to do a flower, because flowers not always facing you, they're sideways or whatever. But for a beginner to start, this is a good way to do a flower. So I'm going to do some more. If I did put a big blob of yellow from the start, I'm sure I wouldn't have used as much, but because I just put little blobs. Okay. I'm gonna do random. I'm looking. I have like reference photo. You can go on Google Images, free pics of sunflowers, and you can use them as reference. That's legal. I'm just filling in the spaces where I left in between. And I'd really appreciate if you would comment on if you learned anything, if you have any questions. That helps me out in this social media venue. Really appreciate it. I'm really interested in how if you're learning anything, if you're learning to be brave. It's funny how certain things scare us, public speaking or what have you, and some people, they just don't have the confidence to paint, to create. And it's the easiest thing because you're the one that's in control. That's the thing. I want this to dry a bit before going over with the other petals. So I might just, sorry, I'm just going to touch up a bit. And I load up my brush a bit, and then just at the bases. And we'll be adding highlights and what have you. Like, this isn't it. That, like I told you at the beginning, the painting looks kind of wonky at the beginning, and that's part of the process. It's like life. It doesn't happen instantly and easily. You have to keep adding to it. Going too far there. Just brushing it off. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry for now. And I want to work on Simply Blessed, where it says Simply Blessed. Bring over some paper towels. And what I'm going to use, I'm going to put this brush aside. I don't need to clean it because I'll be using it again. And I want to use a very thin brush, pointy brush. Now, what you use or what you have on hand can be different than what I have. Sometimes the bristles aren't too long. Oh, you can see better there. Aren't too long, others are longer. Sometimes when they're longer, you get more flow. You can go a bit farther with them. But just take the smallest, the thinnest round brush you have, and preferably that comes to a point. So I'm gonna start, you know what, I wonder if I should do this with just to make it easy, to do it with a Sharpie. How about that? What do you guys think? Do I have a Sharpie here? I did. Where'd it go? Where did my Sharpie go? Oh, don't tell me. Oh, here it is. Found it. So it's just a regular Sharpie, permanent marker. I'm gonna take the palette out of the way so I can get closer. And I'm just trying to make this easy for you guys and for me too. And most people, you're more comfortable holding like a pen or a marker or what have you. You feel more, your hands feels more steady. So since I've traced it out already with my tracer, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna follow around around the markings, and the letters were wider than just one line, so I'll be filling it in. And it doesn't have to be perfect, as long as it's yours. So you can see that doesn't look too good, right? But that's all right, because I'm going to fix it up. So I'm just outlining, following what I traced, outlining, taking my time. You don't have to push hard because it's a Sharpie. And you don't have to do it in all one movement. You notice that I just did one part and moved on to the next. Don't think of it, don't think of it as writing, just as a design that you're tracing. So just to show you, I could use black paint, or I could use the marker. The marker will take more time, as I'm seeing. I think I'd rather fill it in with paint, to tell you the truth. Maybe just outline it with marker. See, this is all part of the process, the creative process. You adapt, you change your mind, you want to do something different, something strikes you, oh, this will be pretty, this will be better. You go with the flow. That's part of being creative. Like I had an idea what I wanted to do, but I didn't know 100%. And even if I did, there's things I probably would have changed as I went along. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna paint it in, because I am a painter. Hello. Okay, I'm gonna take my little brushes, and I have some black here already. And if you've seen me before, you know how I take some black, go to an empty spot of my palette, I pass my brush through the black, and as I'm passing through, I'm twirling. And the action of going like this, it loads the brush all around, and it brings it to a nice fine point. So I'm just pushing my palette out of the way because I need some elbow room. Yeah, this covers it up nicely. I think it's a good idea to trace it out with the marker though, because then it gives you a real good outline. So I'm just going to do a bit of this. I don't want to waste too much of your time. I just wanted to show you how it goes. And keep reloading your brush as you go. There's just a few bristles there, so it can't hold too much paint. Just take your time. I might be going fast for you, and that's okay. You go your speed. And don't worry if it's kind of wonky on the edges or whatever. Once it's dried, you can clean it up. You can pass over it again. I think it was a good idea putting the light green. I like the effect of having the lighter green where the text is. Yeah, that really pops. Okay, and I did a design, like a flourish that we might call. And I did it right here. That's part of the design. And you notice that if it doesn't cover, I just reload and keep going. Reload, keep going. And my arm is steady on the edge of my work table here, just to help me. Or you could put like your pinky on if the canvas is dry, you could put your pinky on the side of the canvas. And the thing is too, some people forget, when you're doing something like this, you can, if you're having trouble getting to the area you want, flip over the canvas. It doesn't matter what angle you're painting on, as long as you can get to where you want and do what you want. That's okay. I don't want to run too late. I hope I can load this on to my page. This is the first time that I'm doing a long video that's not a live, so I'm hoping I'll be able to load it on. If not, I'll maybe be able to load it on YouTube. Okay, so I'm going to stop with that for now. I'll continue later on. It was just to give you an idea what it's going to look like. And I want to continue with the petals. Oop. Okay, so I'm going to take my round brush that I had already. You can see with yellow and a bit of orange. I don't know if it's too bright there. Sometimes when you're taping, it's hard to see what other people see, the lighting in that. So same thing, rolled my brush in the paint to a point, my brush to a point. Now I'm going over, and I'll put these petals, they're a little more yellow to make a contrast with the ones underneath. And I'm going to do it in the in-between spaces and a bit shorter. That one didn't turn out too pointy, that's okay. And I'll be going over them again with highlighting and what have you. Okay, pointy. And I'm trying to do some that are a bit longer than others, some shorter, just for a bit of variety. I reload with each petal. I don't know if you're noticing. Push down, lift up slowly. Same thing here. I'll go in between a bit longer. Keep reloading. Can you see it's shaping up now? I really appreciate comments. If you let me know what you think. If you like sunflowers, are you ready for fall? I'm not a big crazy fan about Halloween, but I do like fall. I like the season. I'm sad to see summer end, but I really like the fresh air, and I don't know if it's because I was born in the fall. I just had my birthday not long ago. So I need more yellow. So you can see it's shaping up. I'm already to an hour. I'm nervous that I won't be able to. I hope I can share this to you guys. Would hate to have done all this and can't even see it done. Oh, that would not be good. So we're alternating short and long over the other ones. And even if you cover them up quite a lot, you still get the effect. It creates depth. Okay, what do you guys think about that? I'm gonna let that dry. I think I need more yellow in the sky, actually. I'm seeing that now. I'm gonna wash my flat brush again, because you want some of the colors to repeat. And if there's some yellow, more yellow in the sky, it's gonna match better with the sunflower. It's just design ideas. Oop, okay. I'm making a mess, and that's all right. So I'm taking my flat brush that I washed and dried with paper towel, and I'm scooping up some white, and I'm taking a touch, just a touch of the yellow. Maybe more than a touch. Still want it quite pale, but here it's almost like too pale. And I'm going over. That's the thing. It's better to go lightly, just like not too crazy, and you can always add onto it later. That's the thing. And usually just it adds more depth too. More interest. Okay, I'm gonna go into the. So I don't know if you can see it. It looks like it's glaring. To me, it looks like it's glaring in the light. I just want you to get a good feel of what it looks like, and then it matches. There's some more continue. I don't know, it looks better. So there's a couple of drops here. I'm just wiping off with a wet paper towel. I'll fix that up. And maybe I'm gonna add a bit of, would I add some yellow there? What do you think? I'm not sure. Just to make it look like a sunlit field. What do you think? I'm going to take a dry brush. This brush is dry, and I'm just sort of rubbing it into. The paint underneath is dry, so it's not going to blend too well, but it just sort of mutes it a bit. And I don't know if you're noticing, but I'm going side to side, not up and down. I'm going to take a touch of water, just to blend it out a bit. So I'm going for the look of a the sun just touching. I'm just loading with some light yellow. Oh, that's too light. Some green too. Just going for like the sun is touching the tops of the fields in the distance, just to give it some depth. And when you're doing things like this, it's good to go random. You don't want it all uniform lines back and forth, all the same distance, all the same look. You want longer ones, you want shorter ones. That looks more natural. And you don't need this brush that I'm using to blend. I could have used just a plain a chip brush. That's just what you call a chip brush. Just a wide brush like that. That'd be fine. Very inexpensive. They're not at Michael's. I think they're $1.50 maybe. What do you guys think? Where are you from anyway? I'm interested. I know some people from the States watch sometimes, some people from different provinces, Ontario, Quebec. I'm in New Brunswick. Okay, I'm just going with my gut. That was a little bit too light. I'm just sort of rubbing it in and that fades it out. Okay, I think that adds some interest. You don't want it all just plain. The problem is sometimes you just can't stop. It just keep going. Okay, this it's still there's some of it that's wet, some of it is dry. I wanted to add some more petals, but in the meantime, I think what I'll do is I'll work on the middle. So I'll get that round brush that I had. It was in the water. Wipe out the water, and I'm gonna use the orange and the black. That's what I use to make the brown. If you don't have chocolate brown and you have orange and black, you're good to go. So there you see the bright orange, and as soon as I touch a bit of black in there, look at it. See, it's all going brown. That's more of an orangey brown, kind of mud. Maybe I'll use that. Touch, a little touch black. There you go. And I'm touching here and there, just with the tip of the brush, just to add some interest, because it's all seeds in here. And without going into too much detail, and I'm going a little over the edge too, because it won't be perfectly round. There's going to be little picky things from the seeds sticking out, right? I would think. So it doesn't need to be cookie cutter round. But try to stay within, Colleen, try to stay within the line a bit. So I'm just going around randomly, turning my brush here and there, twisting my wrist all around where it was just brown. And because this one is a little orangey, more orangey, it adds some depth, it adds some interest. I'm gonna look back. Doesn't look too bad. I'm gonna do a little bit in the middle, and then I'm gonna add that green. Some green, more of a greenish color, dark green. That's quite dark. Less green and more, looks more black. How does it look on there's so many different kinds of sunflowers. There's just not just one kind, one type. So, and it doesn't have to be, if you want it to be perfectly correct, that's fine, but it doesn't have to be. Just this is my version of a sunflower. And now I'm just going, because this is a very, very dark green, I'm just dabbing a little around the edge here just to make it look like it's deeper in there. Give it some depth. Just randomly dabbing. And the same thing around the outside, the outer rim, a bit darker. And that just sort of gives it like a bit of a 3D effect. And like I'm moving my brush around, not always the uniform same. The movement is similar, but I'm moving the angle of my brush, my wrist, all that, just to give some more interest and some variety. That's what you need. Some things need to be repeated in a painting to give it unity, but it also needs variety to create interest. So, what do you guys think about that? I think it's looking pretty good. I think I'll add a bit more highlighting on the lighter parts, the part of the donut that sticks out. So I just washed up my brush, same round brush. And now I'm just gonna add random here and there. Because if you put it everywhere, then you're covering it up and it's not doing its job for highlighting. So just dabbing here and there randomly. Here and there, turning my, maybe a little bit here. By the time I get here, it's picked up some of the brown, so it's not as yellow. There, I think that's good. I'm happy with that. And now I'm going to take my, I'm going to work on the petals some more. I'm just going in the same pile of yellow there, yellow, orange, and I'm going to go over the petals, the outside, the top layer of petals that I just did, just to give more coverage. Another reason why it's a good idea not to take out too much paint at a time, like on your palette, is that it not only dries on the canvas, it dries on your palette. So if you take out too much, and as you can see, it spreads out. Well, where it's spread out thinly, it's going to dry. It's going to dry fast, and you won't be able to use that paint on the palette anymore. So you're wasting. So another reason why you should just take out a little bit at a time. See, and you can tell with the second coat, it's really making it pop. We could add a little bit, if you're having trouble with your colors being too transparent, you can add a tiny bit of white. White is very opaque. That means that you don't see through it easily. So if you just take a little touch, just a little bit, it's not going to lighten your color too much, and it'll help with coverage. See, and as you can see, I started with a darker, duller color in the back, and acrylic, as it dries, it gets a bit duller. So then when you put something lighter and brighter on top, it gives it a lot more depth, as you can see. I'm going a little bit into the orange just to add some interest, different colors. And I'm not going over every petal. I'm leaving the ones underneath to do their job. They're adding depth. I really like it. I think it's cute. I might add, oh shoot. You see, I passed my finger through it. I'm just going to get a bit of water. And I'm going to, there you go. Smudge is gone. If you act quick. So I'm just going, I think I might add, when this dries up, I might add maybe another layer of petals. I'm not sure. I'm just touching up where it reaches the seed pod, if that's what you call it. Just so you can see that it's really attached to it, not just floating petals. And I'm reloading as I go. So there you go. That's as far as I want to go right now, because the video is going pretty long. But what I'll be doing, as you can see, I'm going to go closer. Brushes out of the way. There's the flower and the Simply Blessed. I'll be finishing blessed here with more flourish, and the sunrise, the sky. I'll be finishing the edges, and I'll be signing it. You have to sign it. So I just wanted to share that process with you, and I hope you had fun, and I hope you try it out. And if you do, I really appreciate you sharing a picture of it with the group, just to encourage other people to try their creativity. So this is Colleen with Create with Colleen. I hope you have a great day, and thanks for joining me. See you next time. Bye.